Hello everyone and welcome back to Fantom Sports Industries. My name is Joe Soisson. I'm a contributor for Fantom Sports hockey content. With the All-Star break coming up this weekend, every team's January games are done, which means that it's time for another monthly power ranking. So these are my top 10 teams in the NHL today. Let's cue up some music and get the show on the road. Starting off at number 10, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Through the month of January, they went 9-3-0, and their last 3 games leading up to the All-Star break were all 6-3 victories. They're averaging 3.48 goals per game. That's 7th best in the league. And part of that is power play. They have the number 1 power play percentage in the league. Nikita Kucherov is having a great season. He leads the league in points with 85 total, but an active defense also helps. Of their top 10 point scorers, 4 of them are defensemen. So the top 2 lines are winning their battles. They're also getting healthy. A lot of their injured players are expected to return immediately after this All-Star break. The Lightning currently sit in 3rd place in the Atlantic, but I could see them really giving some trouble to some of these Stanley Cup favorites. And number 9, the Edmonton Oilers. Look, it was literally a perfect January for this team. They're on a 16-game win streak. That's 1 away from tying the all-time record. Their last loss was December 19th on the road against the New York Islanders. And this team's got a high-octane offense, 4th best goals per game average in the league. But the key to this turnaround from their sluggish start to the year has been this defense and goaltending. 8th best goals against average and 2nd least total shots against in the league. In other words, this team possesses the puck, blocks shots, and doesn't give you very many chances to score. Special teams have been great as well. 4th best power play percentage, 5th best penalty kill percentage. And Stuart Skinner has found his groove. He's tied for the 6th best goals against average among starters. And all of this has propelled Edmonton into 3rd place in the Pacific. Now I know their January schedule was a little bit easier, but the way they're playing right now, I don't think anyone wants to play this team in the first round of the playoffs. And number 8, the Dallas Stars. 8-4-2 through the month of January, and the story of this team continues to be their offense. 3rd best goals per game average in the league, and tied for the 5th best goal differential in the league. 3rd least penalty minutes, which means that they don't take a lot of damaging mistakes, and even when they do sit, their PK unit has the 6th best percentage in the league. Plus, they're tied for the most shorthanded goals in the league with St. Louis. Another fun stat for you, they only have 2 skaters with a negative plus-minus. They had to play without Jake Oettinger for a little while, and Scott Wedgwood stepped up. He's now 13-4-4 on the season. They're in 3rd place overall in the Central Division, but they got off to a sluggish start this month, and a lot of their losses came at home, so they're not moving all too far in my standings. I'm putting Dallas at number 8. And number 7, the New York Rangers. Look, it was a rough month of January for this team. They went 5-7-2 this month. But what really concerns me for this team is that they went 0-5 against teams that would be in the playoffs if they started today. Now they still look good on paper. 12th best goals per game average, 9th best goals against average, 3rd best power play percentage, 9th best penalty kill percentage, 6th least shots against, and they are 15-6-0 at home this season. They're still the number 1 team in the Metro, and that might just be enough to get them to a conference final. But if they're going to be the Stanley Cup contender that they believe they are, they've got some things to figure out. Luckily, they've still got some time to do it before the end of the season. I'm putting the Rangers at number 7. And number 6, the Winnipeg Jets. 8-3-1 in January. They started off the month on a 6-game win streak, 8 if you go back to the month of December. But things slowed down at the end of the month. They go into the All-Star break on a 3-game losing streak, one of those losses coming in overtime. Against current playoff teams, notably, they went 1-3-1. But the strength of this team is their goaltending. Connor Hellebuck and Laurent Brossoit have a valid argument to be the best goalie duo in the league. Winnipeg has the best goals against average in the league at 2.30. Their defense helps out a lot. 5th least shots against and 7th least penalty minutes, so not a lot of crucial mistakes. The one concern I have for this team is their PK unit, 24th in penalty kill percentage, so teams can find windows back into the game if they draw penalties against this team. But with Kyle Connor returning healthy to the lineup and the second best goal differential in the league on this team, I've got high expectations for the squad out of Winnipeg. They take number 6. And number 5, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They went 7-5-1 this month, but it was a brutal part of the schedule for Las Vegas. They had 7 games against teams that would be in the playoffs today. And in those games, they went 4-3 overall, going 3-1 at home. They started off the month with the pressure of the Winter Classic in Seattle, and then ended the month on a 4-game road trip out east where they went 2-1-1. Again, have to commend the goalie tandem here. Logan Thompson's numbers are towards the middle of the pack, but Aiden Hill has the league's best goals against average and save percentage. In fact, the team overall has the 7th best goals against average in the league, and that's helped them earn the 8th best goal differential in the league. The defending Stanley Cup champions are feeling the pressure. They've got a target on their back, but they're handling this pressure well. And I'm sure they'll make the playoffs. I'm just not sure what seed they'll end up as. And number 4, the Florida Panthers. 9-2-2 this month, and everything came in bundles. From December 23rd to January 11th, this team was on a 9-game win streak, and 6 of those games were against teams that would be in the playoffs if they started today. And a lot of the January wins were big too. 4-1 on the road against Vegas after they just got upset in the Winter Classic. Then 8-4 on the road in Colorado. They did struggle at home this month. They went on a 4-game losing streak all at home. But they ended the month on a 4-game win streak. Their big story is defense and goaltending. The Panthers are 3rd in goals against average, 3rd least total shots against, and 8th in penalty kill percentage. The downside, their PK unit might be a little overworked. They have the 2nd most penalty minutes in the league. But this team currently sits in 2nd place in the Atlantic, and more they are starting to feel like the Eastern Conference champions from last season. And number 3, the Colorado Avalanche. 9-3-0 is really good for the month, especially when 8 of their matches were against teams that would be currently in the playoffs. By the way, they only lost 1 of those games. It was at home early in the month against Florida. Colorado now has the number 1 offense in the league. They average 3.84 goals per game. They also have the 4th best goal differential in the league. And despite that loss to Florida, the Avs are really good at home. 25-0 on the season. They do take a couple penalties, 8th most penalty minutes in the league, but their PK unit is 10th in percentage, and at the end of the day, you've got 2 of the top 10 scorers in the league in McKinnon and Rantanen on this squad. They cut down on those penalties, that'll help shore up a defense that's middle of the pack in a lot of statistics, and they're as dangerous as ever, Colorado at 3. But there's still that little bit of magic that I like out west. Vancouver grabs my number 2 spot. In the month of January, they went 10-1-2, and they've got the number 2 offense in the league by .04 goals per game. They do, however, have the number 1 goal differential in the league, and they've got a handful of players attending the All-Star weekend thanks to the season they've had. Quinn Hughes, for example, leads all defensemen in points, goals, and assists. Thatcher Demko is having an unbelievable season. He's 5th in the league in save percentage and tied for 6th in goals against average. They've got 2 solid lines that can score points, and it seemingly does not matter whether they are home or away. They have built themselves a solid cushion now for first place in the Pacific Division, and it would not surprise me if this squad went on to win the President's Trophy, Canucks at number 2. But I think if the Stanley Cup playoffs started today, the team I'd pick to win it all is the Boston Bruins. They went 9-2-3 in the month of January, and they had 7 games against teams that would be in the playoffs. They went 4-1-2 in those games, and those 2 overtime losses both came on the road. One of them was even a shootout loss. And another note here, when you look at their losses this month, all of them, overtime or regulation, were by 1 goal. Meanwhile, Boston had 7 wins this month by 3 or more goals. In other words, Boston wins big and loses little. 6th best goals per game average, 4th best goals against average, 5th best power play percentage, 7th best PK percentage. They are good on all phases of the game. The downside, they've allowed the 8th most shots against this season, and they have the 10th most penalty minutes. But when you have goalies like Jeremy Swayman, who's attending the All-Star weekend, and Linus Ullmark, who's coming off of a record-setting season, you're going to take the gamble that those goalies can make the extra save or two to get the job done. The number 1 team out of the Atlantic grabs my number 1 spot on the list. So that's it. That's my January power rankings for the top 10 teams in the NHL today. Some honorable mentions. The Los Angeles Kings are still, I think, a playoff-bound team, but it was just a very poor month of January for them. Couldn't put them inside top 10. And Carolina, the Hurricanes, they are heating up. They had a great month of January, and if that type of play continues and pours over into February, expect them to be in top 10 when the February top 10 video comes out. But that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like our content, be sure to scroll down below on this video and click the like button. Also, while you're down there, be sure to click the subscribe button to get notified of uploads to this very channel. And be sure to check out our official website. That's phantomsportsindustries.com for other sports news, takes, and updates. Once again, my name has been Soisson. Thank you all so much for watching, and we hope to see more of you next time here at Fantom.